Bitch gypsy. Thank you.
Madam Speaker.
I call Maureen Pugh.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That's going to be a very hard act to follow, and I know I'll probably start by paying tribute to my bitch called Chili. Madam Speaker, this is like most things.
I think we can settle down now, don't you?
Okay. Yeah. As has been said often tonight, this is a very small bill, but ask any woman that's been engaged and she will know that great things come in small packages. So I acknowledge my friend Ian McKelvey for delivering this common sense piece of legislation to this House, and it just brings about a small change to the Dog Control Act of 1996. And as a former mayor, I'm sure Mr McKelvey will agree with me that there are two things that raise the angst of the community, and they are library books and dogs. And so I think this piece of legislation will assist in the process of dealing with some of those dogs that are highlighted here in the Category 1. So this Dog Control Category 1 Offence Amendment Bill is simply aiming to streamline and amend the district courts, to relieve the district courts of the burden of hearing unnecessary, huge numbers of these Category 1 offences under the Dog Control Act, and instead allow them to be heard by community magistrates and two justices of the peace. And we've also heard tonight, very rightly so, that these will not be your Justice of the Peace who have not had the additional judicial training to allow them to appear in the court and hear these Category 1 offences. So they will be specially trained. And I think tonight is an opportunity for me to pay tribute to the ongoing work that our Justices of the Peace play in this country. They're an essential part of the judicial system, and I know that they give up a huge amount of their time voluntarily. So I pay tribute to them, to their trainers, and to the Royal Federation of New Zealand Justices Associations who oversee the justices in New Zealand, and also the members in this House that we've heard of tonight who are still actively engaged as a JP. Madam Speaker, the Dog Control Act has offences laid out in there, and they are considered serious enough that they will still be presided over by a judge in the district court. But in some of the stats that we've already heard tonight, that leaves around about, my stats say 38, so 38 of these tougher cases that will be heard in the district court. And these are the ones that are probably a little bit more complex. Their issues are quite serious, maybe where the animal may have to be put down, where there are fines that are up to $5,000 or 3 months imprisonment, or where there are serious animal welfare issues, where the animal has not been fed, watered or exercised adequately. So for the bulk of the offences that occur under the Dog Control Act, and of those there are about 427, those can be dealt with by two justices of the peace or a community magistrate. And that means that that total number of cases are no longer clogging up the court system, and that sets the judges free to really deal with matters that have a much more higher priority in our communities. So though all normal justices' powers are divided into two categories, we have the ministerial and the judicial, and all justices of the peace can deal with ministerial matters, and they are simply witnessing documents. I'm sure we've all had our identities certified for our passports, or taking declarations, affidavits or affirmations. But then though, yes, I am a JP, thank you for asking, Mr Bishop. So some justices of the peace can also authorise various court documents as well. And we've got about 400 of our judicially trained JPs in this country who actually do sit on the district court. So I'm sure they're well placed to take up the extra workload. But I have a great deal of faith in their ability to support the district courts. I also know that this will free up the court time. It will save costs to councils and dog owners, and I commend this bill to the House.
Madam Speaker.
I call Paul Legal.
Malo Madam Speaker, and look, it's a privilege to